My name is Erica. I'm with Idaho State Department of Agriculture. I know several of you are here with us today as speakers. It looks like we have a small team, but bear in mind that this is meant to be more of an educational opportunity, kind of an evergreen resource that we're going to continue to carry on. We've started these idea barn series, workshops, roundtables, panel discussions, and really, we're going to go ahead and record the sessions. Someday maybe we'll get to do a podcast instead of recording these sessions. But for now, this is a great way for us to be able to supply our producers throughout the state with valuable feedback and content to be able to, help them grow or just kind of figure out what other angles producers are taking things. So let's get started. So first thing, just a few housekeeping items. Could you drop your name in the comment section, and then depending on where you're located, go ahead and, not depending on where you're located, just whatever region you're in, go ahead and just plop that in there as well. That way we can just keep track of who's joined us and where you guys are all from. And then go ahead and check your sound or mute your lines, just make sure it's working. If you're a speaker, you need to say hello. Stand. And then we'll use the comment box for questions.
So is the comment box the chat box?
The comment box is the chat box.
Okay.
And I have two screens up, so excuse me if I'm like looking one direction and the other. I just have one screen over here with our presentation. All right, carrying on. So just a little bit about Idaho Preferred here. We've been a part of the Idaho State Department of Agriculture as a branded program since 2003. And our focus has really been helping our producers grow their marketplace. So whether that's through educational resources like these, connections within the community, and maybe, it's just marketing or consultation. They're wanting to help diversify their farm, or maybe they want to sell their business someday. We're just here to help be that resource and that marketing arm for the department. All right. So this year we're really excited about this. We've taken the opportunity to expand our CSA program, and we are planning on continuing to do that into the next year. So this year we went ahead and oops, hold on, back one. I'll go back in a second. Okay, so this year we developed our annual CSA directory. So that's an all-inclusive directory. It's not just our Idaho Preferred members. It's meant to be everybody throughout the state. And we know that this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of finding all those little CSAs throughout the state. But we really want to be able to help provide that content to everyone all over, not necessarily just our Idaho Preferred members. Our Idaho Preferred members, they do get a member page, and that's, the same across the board as any member. It's just meant to help you guys tell your story, provide some visual, compelling photography or videography, and just bolster your resources. All right, and then this year we also started a CSA blog. So in our blog, we highlight the directory, and then we also kind of go into detail more on all of our Idaho Preferred members, what they offer, and then their share times. And then, of course, digital marketing research or partnerships. And then we do farmer chef collaborative events, and then we help with sourcing connections too. All right, so this is a little meet your team, your roundtable. We've got Cloud 11 Mountain Farm here today. We have Fiddler's Green, and we have Bruce Ranch Beef. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, so when we record, we can capture you guys speaking. And this is just a little reminder about what to kind of chat about. So we do want you to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us about your farm, what type of CSA you operate, and then the duration of your season. Right, Julie, we'll let you kick it off.
Hello, my husband is Edward, and so it's Edward and I. We are located in Moyer Springs. We're about 10 miles west of the Montana border as a crow flies, and about 20 miles south of the Canadian border. We're at 2,800 feet. We operate a produce farm. We're certified naturally grown. We're certified organic, and we are Real Organic Project certified. We have been doing this for about 5 years now. This is our 4th or 5th market season. And we got involved with this after moving here in 2016. We got involved with University of Idaho Extension, the Master Gardener program, just to learn how to grow here, because it is an incredibly short season. We have 90 frost-free days. And so we got to meet some local farmers, and it just kind of snowballed from there. We just started growing too much, and so we started selling it at the local farmers market.
Awesome. All right, and then let's go ahead and we're going to shift over to Fiddler's Green. I'll kind of let you guys go one at a time, and we can start with Davis.
I'm Davis with Fiddler's Green Farm. We're just out 8 miles northwest of Boise in the Dry Creek Valley. This is our 7th growing season, and we started as a CSA and market farm. So 7 years of CSA, 7 years of market.
Awesome. And so that's Alex behind you, right?
Yeah, Alex just showed up.
Alex, and then Justin, I see you over there too in the other little pocket corner of my Zoom. So.
Here, I'm over here. We're all in the greenhouse. Yeah.
Oh, you guys are literally in the same space. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. That's the way to do it. Okay, and then let's move on to Andrea. Andrea, can you share a little bit about Bruce Ranch beef? I think you might be muted.
Can you hear me now?
You're good to go. Yes.
Oh, okay. On my screen, it says I'm muted, but I guess I'm not. Anyway, so I'm Andrea, and with Bruce Ranch Beef CSA, so I'm co-owner of the CSA. The other owner is my brother, Josh Bruce, and we have a beef CSA. It's only beef, and we started August 1st was when we kind of launched our CSA 2020. And so we've been coming up on 2 years, and we are located, well, it's a partnership. As I've mentioned, I'm co-owner. So the way our CSA works is my brother Josh and his family raise all of our cattle on our family ranch where we both grew up. It's near the Owyhee Mountains. And I'm much older than him. And I live in Eagle with my husband and my daughters that are grown. So our partnership works in the way that Josh, his wife, and his family raise all the cattle. I do all of the marketing, customer coordination, harvest coordination, that type of thing. So we are located in both Eagle, Idaho, and Pleasant Valley, Idaho. Pleasant Valley is just an area. There's not a zip code or anything else. But anyway, that's how our CSA is set up.
All right. So I'm just going to kind of read you guys the next portion of the questions, just so I don't have to switch between the speaker view and the presentation. So I kind of want to chat about next as soon as I get it to work. The planning aspect of your guys' operations. Any second now. Okay, so how long does your CSA season last? Can you guys give us a little bit of a share breakdown into your structure, of your prices, your duration? You don't have to go into like granular detail, protect your intellectual property and such, but any kind of information you guys can give us on that is fantastic. And then your applicant time frame. So when do you start accepting applications and when do you typically close your application subscriptions? And so we'll circle back to Julie.
We do a 25-week CSA. We start it around the end of April, beginning of May. It kind of coincides with our local Bonners Ferry Farmers Market. And it goes to about middle of October. That's the subscription. And then after that, we do week to week until we run out of produce or anything to offer. So last year we ran it to week to probably the second week of December. Our shares are broken down. Well, when we first started this, we started it with friends and we really didn't know what we were doing. We did one share size. And we found that by doing that and then going into the second year, it just didn't fit everybody's needs. So we have a small share and we have a large share. The small share runs about, last year it was $20 a share. And we raised the price this year to 23 because we found that we were giving more in the share than we were charging for. So we raised the price to reflect what was in the share. And our large share is 1.5 times the size of the small share. It makes it really easy to just have the same content, but just do 1.5 times. And then the charge is 1.5 times the size. We offer add-ons, and we kind of solicit our customers in the beginning to get a sense of, we do mushrooms, and when it's mushroom season, we will include mushrooms in the shares, but at some point they kind of start falling off and we don't have enough for everybody. But we give our shares priority. So we know upfront who wants mushroom add-ons ongoing, and we just collect those fees as we have them, and we include them in the box, and they just pay as they go. We do that with fruit and jams also. We start accepting applications in beginning of January. We solicit all of our prior share members. We give them priority. We give them a week to sign on. They get a bonus if they sign on and give us a deposit within a week. So we give them an extra share at the end of the season. And then we open it up to people that are new members that have given us their name the previous season. So we have a list and we solicit them. We give them a week to sign on. And then we open it up to the community. And we do that by putting flyers at on local stores, on their bulletin boards. We also go to the realtors' offices. We give them a stack of flyers, and we go to the local hotels here because we have a lot of people moving into this community who set up residence at our local hotels. They are booked solid, and so they are moving here. They want to have fresh food. They don't have time to set up a garden. Those are a lot of our new customers. And so the hotels just, the lodges around here just hand out our flyers, and then those people call us. And so we close the signups. We have each year we've doubled our starting number because we've been growing. We're a new farm, we're beginning at this. And the first year, we just did it with a couple of friends. The second year we started with 5 members, and we grew to about 12 members around June. Second year we started with 12 members. We were comfortable that we could commit to those 12 members, and we didn't let anybody else sign on until June when we had more produce, and we ballooned to 25. This year our goal is to start with maybe 25, but we're kind of at the point where we're 15 to 20 right now. We're getting really, really nervous, and we don't want to overcommit. So we're very careful in the beginning to not overcommit. And anybody after that, when we reach that point, we'll put them on a waiting list, and we'll add them in June. And so we're comfortable in June. We have enough product to carry them through the rest of the season.
Awesome. Very good information. All right. Who would like to take the lead on this question from Fiddler's Green?
I can jump in, or maybe all can jump in. But, so this year we're doing a 60-person CSA, and that's a little bit smaller than last year, where I can't remember how many we had last year.
90. Well, last year we had 90 shares, and that is 90 weekly shares, which includes a huge portion of them are bi-weekly shares. So we do one size of share, and people get it either weekly or every other week, which helps keep it more simple for us.
Yeah, every year it seems like we either like how many CSA members we had, or there's too many, or there's too little. Every year is a little different.
Yeah. maybe give us a little bit of a breakdown, because I know kind of when we were chatting, you know, the implications of COVID and how it impacted you guys and how you guys kind of pivoted and shifted your CSA in relation to that. You know, I think that has a lot to do with how your guys' numbers have shifted as well, right? And how you guys have formed your business model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 2020. We were kind of going to the spring thinking we weren't going to do CSA at all. And basically, the week that everything shut down, we were hearing from restaurants were going to close, and the market wasn't going to operate in the same way it usually did. And we didn't know about grocery stores, but we kind of like, oh my gosh, we should probably do a CSA and not drop that. And it sold out within a week. I think other people were worried how they were going to get their produce too.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you guys maybe have scaled back a little bit to, you know, something that's more manageable for you guys with where you want to be scalability wise, right?
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, we
Awesome.
open our CSA usually the second week of January. We same deal. We email previous CSA members on an email list, and then once that goes a couple weeks, then we open it up to social media, and it slowly trickles in until basically we allow people to get in until it starts in June. And I think this year is 20 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting June, the first week of June, going into October. We used to do it a little bit earlier, but we decided to do it later because we can sell. The early markets in Boise are super busy, and so there's a ton of demand for our early crops. So just to make it a little bit easier on us, we push the CSA later and do a little bit shorter than we have in years past.
So
That makes
is it okay
total
to ask a
sense.
question?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just curious. It sounds like you guys then have several avenues. You have your CSA, but do you also sell to restaurants and Boise Farmers Market? Do you have a booth there
Yeah.
or whatever?
Yeah, and we sell to the Boise Co-op a lot. We're kind of split like 30% CSA, 30% the Boise
Okay.
Co-op, and then 30% like restaurants and market,
Okay. Cool.
which
I have
really
a
has helped us
question.
be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question as well. Are you guys limited to produce in your CSA?
Yeah, we did like a bread share one year. We've done meat shares, but logistically it's just kind of hard and it just didn't work out that well for us. So we just decided to stick with our stuff.
We do a flower CSA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was about
Like-
to say, I was like, what about your
Yeah.
flowers?
Yeah.
How long does that, do you guys run the same kind of application timeline for your flowers CSA as well? In, you know, how many, I guess, do you guys allow?
We haven't really hit a limit on what we could do weekly with the flower shares, so we haven't set a cap on that. We
Okay.
even if the produce shares sell out, we'll still take more bouquets, just because we're still not maxed out yet.
All right, well, let's shift over to Andrea.
Okay. So ours is a little bit different. It's run a little bit differently because we don't have the constraints of the growing season in the same way that the vegetables do. So when we started this, and it's also structured slightly different. So we essentially can have beef year round. And of course, the product, when it's given or when it's either picked up by the customers or delivered, it's frozen. So it's just not the same when you're dealing with, you know, live harvest that you're picking and getting it to them super quick and all these things. So ours is year round. So in that respect, we don't have an application period where everyone signs up and then it's closed for the year. Instead, ours is really organized around a share of an upcoming harvest. So we have 4 harvests per year. I mean, approximately that's what we have, and they are slightly different a little bit, like the timing, it's not always exactly the same. And people that are interested, it's just, it's evolved since we started. When we first started, it was quarters, halves, and full shares. And that means a quarter of a beef animal, a half of a beef animal, or a full beef animal. And I mean, you guys probably already know these kinds of things, but so if this is just redundant, let me know. But
No, it's great for people tuning in who don't know, so keep talking.
Yes.
So, we would have people, they put a deposit down. So it is still a CSA because it is our direct to consumer program. Folks are reserving a share of a specific harvest with a deposit. Once that harvest comes, or once that time frame comes to harvest the animal, the beef is aged, hand trimmed, vacuum sealed. And for the larger shares, it is always customer pickup at our various butchers that we use. We also offer smaller shares. We did that to reach a few more people. And those, for convenience of the consumer and the butcher, we deliver those. But everything is based around a specific harvest.
All right. Protein just works a little different. All right, so I'm going to kind of move forward into talking a little bit about your guys' unique value propositions. So I want you guys to think of maybe the first thing you think of when somebody asks you what sets your CSA apart. So what makes you different in the way that you do it? So we'll start there. It just could be brief. Julie.
Our niche is just in time. It's just my husband and I, and we harvest as close as we can to market. We do 2 farmers markets, and we do the CSA, which is like a whole nother market itself. We do it on a separate day. So we harvest the day before. We often don't know what we're going to harvest until that day because we pick the crop based on the freshest and at its peak value. And we get a lot of feedback from our customers that they like how long our product lasts, that it is so fresh. We don't have storage. We don't store it. Anything that we bring home from market, it goes to the food bank. So we are picking just for each market and the CSAs. We give 10% extra value to our CSA share members. So if they get a subscription from us, we commit to them that they're going to get at least 10% more in their share than if they purchased at our farmers market booth. We prioritize our crops to our CSA share members. For instance, asparagus and mushrooms and fruit went primarily to the CSAs last year because not only did they get it in the share, but they will do add-ons, and it actually causes our booth to suffer a little bit because we then don't get to bring a lot to the booth. But that's our commitment to our customers. And also the variety of what we offer. We have over 400 different products that we grow, and wow. We grow things that they wouldn't necessarily pick at our booth. We find that our CSA share members are always saying, wow, I would have never picked that out at the store, and you guys not only give it to me, but you tell me how to eat it. So we do a newsletter with each week telling them what they got in their share, but also our favorite way to eat it. And then we ask them for feedback on their favorite ways, and we share that. We try to create a little community of that.
That's fun. Nice. Okay, Fiddler's Green.
I guess what I could think of is the flowers for sure set us apart as a CSA around here. I think a couple other farms do flowers too, but we try to do a large, diverse selection of varieties that other people don't grow. Sometimes Justin's playing his fiddle at the CSA pickup, so that's kind of that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we have
We like
sometimes
that.
a show. Yeah, sometimes there's a concert at our pickup spot. Um, but like similar to what Julie was saying, I think it's like we pick the day of for our CSA, so it's like pretty. I mean, it's like the freshest produce you can probably get in the area, and I think a lot of our customers really appreciate that. And yeah, I think that's a really big one. And we have a really diverse. We grow. I don't even know how many varieties of things.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot, and we give a lot of priority to the CSA, especially for like things that we don't have a ton of, like green garlic or some of the more specialty items. And that's kind of what makes the CSA fun for us, because we can grow kind of some smaller plantings of things that, because we're plant nerds and we like to grow everything. So instead of just growing something for wholesale, we get to kind of branch out and grow some of smaller plantings of things, and then that usually all goes to the CSA, so they get hooked up with kind of some funkier stuff or rare or special things. Yeah, what else? Alex?
I mean, those,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
no, those are all great. Those are all fantastic. I mean, I think we can all speak to loving, that fresh, flavorful produce, right after it's picked. There's
Right
nothing
after it's
better,
been
like
you know?
grilled too.
That's
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, Andrea, you're up.
The question was again, how are we different? Okay. I mean, I don't know if this really makes us that much different, but basically our, I guess you'd call it, what we really try to emphasize about ourselves is quality, convenience, and community. And so the quality means it's coming directly from our ranch, directly to the processor, and then it's getting to the customer's table. We know exactly what it's eaten, what it's been fed, because it's there from birth. The animals are there from birth. So we know all of that. We do our marketing, phases. It's slow grown. This is a slow grown beef CSA because we do finish it on our ranch. The animals are not in a feedlot situation trying to get finished really quick. So we do kind of put it in the slow food category. We do. And one unique thing about us is we realize people have preferences, and there's, just like you guys, all different kinds of people buy vegetables. Well, all different kinds of people eat beef. And so we started from the beginning. We offer 100% grass-fed, grass-finished. And that is very big for us. But we also offer a grass-fed, grain-finished. And that is something where we do not grow grain on our ranch. So we do buy the grain, and then like the last 90 days for those particular animals, they'll get some grain. Basically, we kind of explain it as they get a side of grain, which you might get like a side of fries on top of their grass hay. That's basically what it's like. It makes the meat a little bit more marbled. Some people really like that. They want a little more marbling. They want the steaks a bit more tender. We don't feel it changes the flavor at all. They're both really great flavor. But anyway, in terms of addressing the market, it's been a good thing for us to let folks have a choice. And the grain finish is it's not harder for us, but it is a more specific thing. So that type of beef is only available on certain harvests, about twice a year. Where the grass-fed, grass-finished, that's more really of what our ranch is about. It's part of the natural cycle of the ongoing ranch, because the ranch itself, not all of our animals are going into the direct-to-consumer program. It is a cow-calf ranch, so there's a lot of animals they're not going to the direct-to-consumer program. So for our program, I mean, it just fits into the natural cycle of what's happening on the ranch. So that is a difference, being able to choose that preference. We also do offer a recipe. The other thing that's different about us, there's other direct to consumer beef companies, especially since COVID, but many of them just sell cuts, and we don't do that. We sell a share of a harvest, and that kind of goes into what you guys are saying with getting different greens and different things they don't know how to eat or don't know how to cook. Well, it's sort of the same if you're getting a share of a harvest. You know, some folks might, all they want is steak and, you know, they want flank steak and ground beef. And it's like, okay, well, we provide a share of a harvest. So you're going to get a chuck roast, some stew, some ground beef. You'll get a skirt steak or a tri-tip. I mean, people don't understand the different cuts and how many there are or are not. And so in that way, it's similar that we provide recipe. Sometimes we've worked with local chefs to create those for us. So it's not just our experience. And we also have a newsletter that we sometimes will get put a recipe out on. And it's the same way for our customers. They might cook something that they didn't know how to cook, or they might, enjoy something they don't normally eat if they're just making a trip to the grocery store, getting their same old thing. So in that way, it's the same. And yeah, I think that's about everything. We do emphasize in our industry, we emphasize our supply chain a lot. The supply chain is super direct compared to, just like you guys is the industrialized food world. So anyway.
That's all really useful information. It's good to know too. Okay, so my next question is, what are your primary forms of marketing? I know you guys have talked a little bit. I've heard social media, I've heard newsletters, but what are your preferred methods? What do you guys feel is working the best for you? And then maybe what wouldn't you want to continue doing, or maybe where you wouldn't want to focus as much effort in your marketing process? Julie.
I'm going to change my answer here. I had written this down before. We do a lot of Instagram because it's easy, and it's basically a photo album, and we don't do selfies of ourselves. We just show the farm, and people like to see pictures of the farm and what we're growing and what's in season. So what we try to do is we post what's available, what's fresh now, what we're bringing to market, and we hashtag the two farmers markets that we do, Sandpoint and Bonners Ferry, and some other community hashtags. But that was my original answer, but actually I think our best way of marketing ourselves is our booth. Our booths. When we go to market, we spend a ton of time talking to people, maybe too much time, because we see sometimes people walk away because we're talking to people, but we like to talk to people. We like to educate them about what we're growing, why we're growing it, how to use it, get them to try new things. And word of mouth, it seems to really work. People like spending time with us. They like the relationship. So that seems to get us customers.
Awesome. All right, Fiddler's Green.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment as well. We don't really do that much like intentional marketing. I think that the farmers market is probably our most useful marketing tool. We also do Instagram and have a website and stuff, but just seeing people face to face and having our products at the co-op, we have bags of greens with our logo on them and stuff like that. But just being out in the community and meeting people, it's probably our most useful marketing tool.
Yeah, it's definitely about community in our local food system, and farmers markets are a really great way to get integrated. So
yeah, and our restaurants too are really good that we sell to.
Yeah.
They make a point to put our name on the menu and make sure that people know that the salad that they're eating is coming from our farm. And I think that's huge too, because then people will go to the co-op or come to the market and they're like, oh my God, this is the same stuff I just ate and it was really good. So it's like a really easy cross marketing through restaurants is real, and through the co-op too, just sharing, or like hashtagging, like you were saying, the co-op or whatever restaurant we're selling to, and then that kind of like builds this sort of like allure and like hype. It hypes it all up, and everyone gets excited. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, Andrea.
I would say ours has been, it's probably similar to Julie's. Probably our most successful marketing has been Instagram and Facebook. It's different audiences. It's younger versus older, so it sort of depends on the share that they're interested in. And then definitely word of mouth. That's probably been our biggest, way for that our CSA has grown is through word of mouth. If someone tries something and they tell their friend or their neighbor, or we've had many people that have just been so happy with the quality. And if they're buying, 100 pounds of beef, because they bought a quarter share, well, they like to, share with their friends some ground beef or something. And so that really helps. They actually take samples for us. I mean, we don't ask them to, but they'll just say, oh, I shared this with my neighbor because it's so great. I told him about it. And so that's really helped us, honestly. We haven't gone to markets. We did have one event that was really good for us. But typically we're pre-selling the entire harvest. We are growing a little where we'll have some more samples available. But we haven't had as much opportunity since we haven't gone to markets to actually be face-to-face talking with people. So we've had to primarily connect through either just, if someone calls us, texts us, and they're talking with me, or through the social media. And the three of us that are involved, my brother, myself, and his wife, none of us really like to be on the camera. So same as what Julie said, we don't show a lot of pictures of ourselves, even though it's recommended we do, we don't. So anyway, that's kind of how it goes for us.
Yeah, that marketing is definitely a different flavor for each type of business and each scenario. So it's just interesting to hear the diversity and how you guys all choose to do it. But I think we all agree digital marketing, the social media, the email marketing, those are probably predominant forces, in being able to reach our regional communities outside of just our in-person community activities. All right, continuing on. Okay, so your guys' delivery strategies. Can you guys talk a little bit about those? So how do you operate your pickups, your deliveries, whether it's weekly, monthly, seasonally? And then tell us something that you've changed about your delivery system that's created efficiencies. And then, maybe something that you aren't super stoked or happy about right now that you guys want to look into potentially trying to figure out a solution for. Julie.
We offer 2 pickups a week. And we do this because our 2 markets are 30 some miles apart. And so we do for the Boundary County area up here on Mondays, and then we do Sandpoint on Wednesday when we go to the Sandpoint market. And we do Sandpoint when we go to the Sandpoint market. We do our main pickup day, which is the Boundary County, on a separate day from market. We tried doing it on a market day in the past. It is just too much for us. Doing the CSA is like a whole nother market in itself. And because it's just my husband and I, we're like harvesting for 2 markets on one day, and then trying to get everything to the market for pickup was just too difficult. So we separated that out. The downside of doing that is we have no break. So we're basically doing 3 markets a week, and we're thinking about adding another market this year. So we're kind of juggling that, trying to figure out how to get around that. One of the things that we have done that has helped is we've shortened our pickup windows. We used to be very flexible and say, oh, come between 12 and 5. So Monday pickup, one of us would go to town and we meet folks in town, and then one of them stays on the farm. And we found that the people that came to the farm, they just want to stand around and talk all day. So we decided we kept narrowing it, and it's really helped to shorten it to, you have 1 hour. And we do like to spend time with people. So it helps us mitigate that issue. Oh, and the other thing that we've done is we text people. We remind them if they don't show up like within the first 15 minutes, we text them all, because there are people that inevitably forget, and we don't want to wait. We don't want to bring the product home, but that's helped.
Okay, very cool. All right, Fiddler's Green.
So I guess we've kind of done it a little bit different every year for the past 6 seasons, but we've done different variations of 2 days of pickup or 3 locations, like one of them the farm, one of them's at Justin's house, and then last year we had one at Wild Plum on the bench. As far as boxes, we used to have just a whole case of turnips and a whole case of radishes, and there's a list that said take one of these, take one of these. And then in 2020 we kind of switched it to every share had its own little plastic bin, so you weren't touching anyone other's produce. And I think we've learned over the years that you have to make it as simple as possible for the CSA members. When there was that grab one out of each bin thing, someone didn't want green garlic, so they'd take 2 of something else, and then the last people at the CSA wouldn't get a vegetable, or there'd be a bunch left over. Yeah, we kind of streamline also our locations. We're just going to do Justin's house this year and the farm, and it's just going to be on one day. So we'll be able to pick it and deliver it in one day. I think we all agree we want a way to deliver the food in a cold truck. One of these days we'll get a refrigerated truck. Those hot days in the summer, it sits in the van and then it sits out at the CSA pickup.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Justin's going to say something.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I was just going to mention that like in the past we tried to do like a wholesale delivery and the CSA delivery on the same day, and it was kind of stressful to get out the door in time before, if the CSA pickup started at 4, we still had to pick like 20 flats of cherry tomatoes or something. Like we couldn't get that figured out, so we simplified here. Like our wholesale days are Tuesday, Thursday, and then Wednesdays are CSA days, so that we don't have the stress of having to like get products or a farmer's market for that matter on the same day. We also are doing something this year where we have a one size box share instead of using wax boxes, which we used in the past. And so it just makes the packing in and out of the CSA a lot quicker and a little more streamlined. Yeah, I think that's.
We also did the market pickup share one season, and it was too much for Saturday. And then we also did a market card instead of a market pickup, where people could buy into a special Square credit card and take it to the market and buy produce throughout the season. That was kind of nice because they could buy as much or as little as they wanted to every week.
Would you do that again?
We haven't done it. We did it maybe 2 seasons, and we haven't done it since the market last year was kind of drive through and walk around. The year before it was only drive through. It just hasn't really been normal for an entire season yet.
Okay. Good to know though. All right.
I had a question. You mentioned you typically used for your CSA share a wax box. Is that what you said? Wax box?
Yeah, they're just like a produce box. We bought our own boxes. When COVID kind of hit, we were trying to figure out ways to make people feel comfortable picking up their vegetables without the infiltration of someone else's hands or,
Sure.
So we bought our own wax boxes, which we would be constructing and and taking apart every CSA, and that probably took about an hour of time
Okay.
to do that many boxes. So
Okay.
now we're just doing a plastic bin that can close and stack, so it can easily be loaded in and out for CSA,
Mhm.
and clean too. We can clean that bin, which is kind of hard to clean a wax box.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, you can, but yeah. So it was just like COVID precautionary thing.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want me to go ahead?
You're up, Andrea. Yes, that'd be awesome.
So for our deliveries, I mean, for our large shares, it's all customer pickup. So it's easy in that respect. I mean, and we contact them via email and we give them a 2-day window. It's not super easy because the place where they're picking up cannot just store these shares for several weeks because they have other animals to be processed coming in. So we give our customers a 2-day window and really emphasize that they get out there and pick it up. And it seems to have worked fine for the most part. It's always a little tricky in January because sometimes people are on a vacation, but it's worked well. And we don't have to worry about that. But as we've gotten where we've started offering like a 25-pound or a 44-pound share, we deliver those because the butcher cannot pre-sort and all of these things, the share of the harvest in the way that we've market them. So what happens is we go do the pickup, we sort it and immediately and deliver it. And that just seems to work the best for us because we're in control of the whole thing in that way. And we deliver it in just a cardboard box, that has our label or something on it. But and that seems to work pretty well. But just like these guys are saying, if we grow much, it'll get more difficult in the summer. So those are challenges. And then the other thing I've been thinking about is how to get rid of packaging, even the cardboard boxes. So many people have cardboard boxes and we're leaving the beef many times they're not home or whatever, or they're home or they might not be right there. We leave it with them in a cardboard box, but so many people have so many cardboard boxes from their Amazon purchases and so forth. I've been thinking about just having them set a cooler out, especially for summer, but then the situation is if you don't have their share packed in a box and you show up and they don't have their cooler out. So anyway, I'm still kind of trying to think about that would actually cut costs for us. It cuts waste. Most people have coolers. I mean, it would just be better, but you have to plan for those scenarios where, of course, someone forgets. And so that's something I'm thinking about trying this year.
Yeah, I would definitely leave a cooler out. So something to explore. Okay, let's move on to partnerships. So partnerships, do you have any, so a lot of you guys kind of have partnerships. You guys are a part of farmers markets. Like I know that you guys kind of, Andrea, you guys kind of partner a little bit with Coffee and Supply Company, but are there any other forms outside of retail and farmers markets of partnership opportunities that you guys take advantage of? Do you guys include any add-on products? Because those are also potential partnership opportunities. Do you guys currently do anything like that? And then you can kind of circle around to events. So, do you guys do any harvest dinners, workshops, classes, specialty on-farm events, things of that nature? All right, Julie.
So our biggest push is the farmers markets. We have for the last 2 years, we have purchased a small display cooler and we put it in the rural community store that's closest to our farm. And that worked really great when the refrigerator was working. But we've had a lot of problems because of where we live when we have issues with the refrigerator getting it repaired, and it's actually been broken for a year now. So it's been an obstacle for us, but it worked great when it was working. And we have also trialed an online store. Our community extension agent and a few of us farmers wanted to put together a producers cooperative. And so we built it on a platform that we thought would serve the community. Nobody in this community wanted to pay for the platform. So we offered ourselves up as a guinea pig to work out the kinks of it. And because it was a free platform, it just didn't work out. It was too cumbersome, too difficult to use. And so my husband and I, in parallel, were working on an online store just for ourselves with a platform that we wanted to pay for, which was much more robust and suited to our farm. But we gave that an effort. It was a good idea. It was run by volunteers. It fell apart. So we're going off in a different direction. And because of where our farm is, we would love to have an on-farm store. But we're really sensitive to our neighbors, and we have a long driveway up a good-sized hill, and we don't want a lot of customers driving back and forth past our neighbors. It's a difficult road to maintain. We maintain it, big cost to it. So we put the refrigerator down at the local store. We thought that would work better.
It's a good idea. Quick question. Do you guys do any type of online farmers market in your region? Like, I know some other regions have Facebook groups that are kind of like online farmers markets. Do you guys have something like that over there?
That's what we were trying to build with this online producers cooperative. When we were trying to build it on the Open Food Network, which,
okay,
was fine. We actually hired somebody to administer it, but it was mostly volunteers that was trying to build it, and it just didn't have all the bells and whistles that we want. And in parallel, my husband and I had purchased an account on Local Line, which is suited more towards farmers, and we're building that platform on our own. We've looked at a few others, and we like Local Line. I know Local Line has worked with the Moscow farmers market and built a whole farmers market community online. If you guys are interested in looking at that, they've been pretty successful with it. And it kind of emerged around COVID when everybody was really nervous about whether or not they were even going to be able to open up at a farmer's market. To your other question, we don't offer any add-on products outside of our own. We solicited our members, and they really weren't interested in doing a bread add-on. And that has a lot to do with our community demographic up here. And it's also difficult when we're certified organic. That's an obstacle for us because there's all these rules around commingling non-organic stuff with our stuff. And I just hate all the administration of that, and it's not something I've tackled yet. We invite people up here all the time. We encourage our customers to come on up from market. We believe know your farmer. Know what they're growing, ask them a lot of questions, and come see our farm so that you can trust that we're growing it the way we say we're growing it. And we also give talks at the University of Idaho Extension as much as they invite us. We're really happy to share with the community of where we get our resources, how we grow our food, what works for us, what doesn't work for us. We are older. We want younger farmers to be doing this. We can't be doing this for a long time, so we are happy to educate anybody who wants to know how to do this. So we talk a lot there.
Well, that's awesome. I know when we talked, you had mentioned a lot about the, and I'm sorry, I might butcher this, the Real Organic Project, right? You work a lot with them. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it impacts your business model and your CSA and how you choose to operate?
Yeah, would love to. And for those of you that don't know about it, go to realorganicproject.org. It's emerged as there's a lot of issues with what's going on with USDA certified organic in a lot of the exceptions that they are allowing big ag and how to grow food, like with the feedlots for livestock and with the hydroponics. And it's kind of gotten away from the original organic movement of growing food and taking care of the soil and nurturing the soil so that it grows good food. So the Real Organic Project is a bunch of the old time organic, the people, the founders of the organic movement who have gotten together and said, hey, this is not what this is about. And either we need to lobby USDA to get back to what it was all about or create a new label. And where it seems to be going right now is educating people about what's going on with USDA organic and developing this new label so that people understand when you go to the store and buy something that says certified organic, was it grown hydroponically? There's a lot of people that believe that you don't get the same kind of value out of the food that's not grown in the soil. Is it grown in pots on ground that's been sprayed and covered with plastic mulch? So they're not taking care of the land. Are they raising their animals in these large feedlots and providing them access to the outside, but truly not raising them in an organic manner? That we don't know a lot about livestock, but how that originally was intended. So it's a movement that's beginning, and we became a part of it, and it's just been a huge education for us.
Well, thank you for sharing a bit about that, because I know it's definitely a passion and educational point of yours and how you guys choose to operate. All right.
Can I add one thing too about certified naturally grown? It's kind of in parallel. It's for small farms, that it's a peer-to-peer review for people that follow the organic rules, but don't necessarily want to become certified organic. And it has one additional requirement that USDA certified doesn't require, is selling locally. So certified naturally grown is a really nice peer-to-peer relationship with other farmers. That's why we've chosen to stay with them too.
Oh, very good. All right, Andrea.
What
Oh, wait,
about
Fiddler's Green. I jumped around. Whoop. I missed the whole group.
I think Alex mentioned earlier, we partnered with a ranch and a baker. So we had a bread add-on at our CSA, and she seemed to always be pretty late at the pickups. And the meat was kind of hard because we got it frozen at the market when we saw the ranchers at their stand, and they lived out of town, more like not far from Pleasant Valley area. And then we would have to be responsible to keep that frozen until our CSA day, which is just, we had to simplify just juggling the wholesale, restaurant, market, CSA. It was just one more thing we had to worry about. So we haven't really partnered with anyone in that way in quite a while. We've done things like donate CSA or flower shares to auctions for the Boise Farmers Market, stuff like that. In 2020, when everything was shutting down, we started having, because we're only 20 minutes from downtown Boise, we started having a lot of people just drive up to the farm and ask, how do we just get your food now? And it kind of sparked the idea that one of these seasons, maybe not this season, we're busy building another tunnel, but maybe a stand right here at the entrance of our farm, and a little, grab and go cooler, and maybe some flowers in there too. Just keep it stocked. I'm pretty lucky I get to live on the farm, so we'd have someone here all the time. And then event-wise, we haven't done too many events other than the market dinner here the last 2 seasons, the full moon dinner or harvest moon dinner. And we've had a couple of restaurants. Kin, downtown Boise, has done 2 weekends of dinners here a few years ago. And then in the years past, it seems like the CSA ends right around Justin's birthday. So we'll have the last CSA pickup at the farm, and we'll have a keg and music, or just people hanging out, seeing the farm, where the food came from.
A birthday harvest celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Okay, Andrea.
Let's see here. We've done, in general, we're pretty small. And so we've just done, we've partnered with some other local food providers, just small providers. But just like the folks from Fiddlers were saying, it's, you have to think through the packaging, think through the product. So last year we did an Idaho grillers share, and we partnered with some very small batch custom barbecue sauce. Like that was part of the share. So it wasn't an add-on, it was included. It was like added value for our share. And that worked out quite well because, you know, it's a glass bottle. We've got everything packed. We, you know, like you can separate it easily. And that worked pretty well. That was fun, but I mean, it takes a fair amount of coordination to get those things going. And I don't know if it's really adding the amount of value where it's like, oh, let's definitely get a share because it has this barbecue sauce. So, I mean, for the amount of time it takes, it's like, oh, I don't know. We've also done a burger kit, which was fun, did that spontaneously. And when we've done some Valentine bundles, but what we do in those, we're partnering with small companies that like the Valentine bundle, it's with a company that, you know, they might offer chocolate or candles or other things. It's a little pop-up bundle, if you will. Same with the burger kit. It's a pop-up burger kit. So it's limited quantity. It's a really short window. But those have been successful. People like them, and it gets more people to know about you, because usually you can partner with someone, even with the pickup location, that has a lot bigger following than you do. And then that helps a fair amount. So those are the kinds of things we've done. We have not done an event at the ranch yet. We have had quite a few requests for that, and we are thinking we would like to try to do it. It's just basically a matter of manpower, if you will. It's just getting it organized, making sure my brother would have time to commit to do a tour, because it's a pretty good sized ranch and it's just him working it with his family. His wife's a school teacher, so it's just basically about the manpower to put together and it would just be for a customer only event. So anyway, those are some of the things we've done.
Yeah, those are all great. Do know that we can be a resource in not just like helping with connections for partnerships and events, but we definitely like to go out and help promote and be a part of them as well. Just be a part of the community in whatever way we can. So if, you guys ever have inquiries, or if you have an idea and you're like, maybe Idaho Preferred can come through and help us out with that, just reach out. We're an open book and trying to help you guys. All right. I'm going to switch the screen back over to the other kind of share mode. Got one more button to go. All right, we're just going to play a brief video. To diversify. I think a lot of you guys are already seeking out those opportunities to diversify, and I can have you guys talk about it in just a brief moment. We're going to share a video that Guy Han did. It's just a 1-minute clip of a longer video, but just kind of gives you the general scope, and our listeners a general scope of, ways in which farms can diversify. Okay, so that's just one of the member origin stories. It's just like I said, a short segment of it that, we do help provide as digital assets for our members, but more so it's, a compelling visual aid in being able to reach the consumer audience and just give them a better idea of, your guys' operations and what you guys do and what you offer. So let's talk a little bit more about diversifying. I know you guys have mentioned some ways that you diversify. So if you feel like you've covered the ground on what you do, or maybe you have more to add, go ahead and add that. But then maybe let us know something that you've tried that you wouldn't want to move forward with again. And then I'm going to take it off. All right. Julie.
We're pretty much all about produce. So I think the variety of our crops is our diversity. We do value added products of jams and jellies and dried greens, powdered greens. And again, it gets difficult when we would like to do processing of more cottage foods, but requiring a commercial kitchen. With our certification with USDA, we've had a local commercial kitchen that's close to us in that rural store certified. But we've had difficulty getting off the ground on actually making those products. And again, that has to do with where we live, getting response from our local health department on helping us get that set up. The cost of setting it up has been kind of an obstacle for us, but it's a place that we would like to go. Again, that factors into us getting older, and doing this farming thing is, yes, very physical, very difficult. And we recognize we have a short window that we can keep doing this. And so we're looking at ways that we can still grow, but kind of simplify that physical demand. What we've tried that we might not do again, the second part of that question is we insist on a deposit to hold share space. We've been burned before up to the last minute, where even with good customers, the day prior they've committed to us, and then all of a sudden they say, I'm going to abandon it this year. So we insist that we get a deposit to hold their slot. I said it before, we don't do pickup on market days. It's too intense. We've minimized our flexibility with our customers. We try to be very flexible with meeting their needs, but for instance, with substitutions, we're pretty firm. We ask all of our customers up front, do they have any allergies? Do they like hot peppers? And we're happy to substitute peppers for not hot peppers. But when we have a customer that tells us, oh, well, I can't do any nightshades, that's really difficult for us to do because we grow a lot of nightshades. And for us to do a one-off, we're just not big enough to handle that. So we try to minimize that. And we also have stopped doing week to week. We find that there's no commitment there. So we do a full season CSA subscription. We require payment up front. There's no refunds. We allow one skipped share throughout the season, which we'll add on at the end of the season. And any other times that somebody might need to skip a share, they can either donate it, give it to a friend, family member. But it's too much for us to juggle if we allow too much of that.
Yeah, it's a sweet spot with scalability, right? And just figuring out what works best for each business. So I can appreciate that. All right, fiddlers.
I think we're definitely mostly centralized in vegetables and flowers too. We've kind of learned that that's kind of our thing. We've talked about maybe adding like eggs or some other value-added products in, but again, like with a commercial kitchen and all that kind of stuff, we just keep it simplified and focus more on the vegetable and flower aspect. We've dabbled a little bit in seed production. We've been had contracts with some local seed companies and grown out varieties for them, which is kind of cool. I think that's something that we would like to do more of, just moving forward, just more of a seed production, just to have more regionally adapted seed varieties for ourselves. And we do garlic seed as well, and that's something that we've that's actually how this farm started originally, was a garlic farm, and then we learned the lesson of having we grew an acre of seed garlic and ended up having a pest that made it not be able to be sold as seed, and that was a huge loss for us. So then that's kind of how we branched into vegetables originally. So, but yeah, I would say seed production is something I'd like to get more into. We have bees on the farm too, but we're just trying to figure that out. We don't sell the honey or anything, but it'd be cool if we could. And then, yeah, I think we've learned just like, because it's, starting a business, it's fun and exciting to try to like get into all this stuff. And I feel like we've done a good job of kind of just like narrowing in on the things that we wanted to do and not spreading ourselves too thin, so that we can do a good job at what we're doing. So I think that was the lesson that I took away. Don't try to do too much. So, because
being
yeah.
a 5-acre farm, we don't have a lot of room to do things like melons or corn. It just doesn't produce enough to make the space it takes up, where we need it to be. So I think that if we're going to cut diversity out, that would be why.
That makes sense. Do you guys ever do any like classes, like or have you ever considered doing anything like that as a way to diversify, like, income streams?
I mean, you've done flower workshops, like bouquet making workshops.
Yeah.
What other things have we? It'd be awesome to do more of that stuff, but realistically, in the heat of the season, we're
strapped.
we're strapped for time. So it's fun to like. I'd be down to do that more as we get better at what we're doing and have more time, and we have a good crew that maybe could permit us to do that. But
yeah, they're fun. It's community experiences,
totally.
Yeah, every once in a while being able to throw a specialty event in there is great. But
the flower, I forgot about the flower workshops. It was pretty fun. We'd do a little table of bread and cheese and I guess a charcuterie type setup, and then some wine, and cut the flowers and then make bouquets. That was fun.
Yeah,
But
I think
also
we'd all be
after
there.
a day
That's
of work.
amazing.
That's also after a day of work. We're already tired. Like, okay, I'm gonna kind of be on stage for a couple hours and entertain people. Almost need a whole other person whose job is just to do those kind of things.
Yeah, I get that too. Okay. All right, Andrea, you're up.
Yeah, I would just probably concur with I think it was Justin, I'm not sure, but that said our goal is really, and it just has to be given our situation, is to do one thing really well. So we will not diversify. I mean, it will just be beef because it's just complicated enough. It's not complicated, but I mean, just we want to do one thing really, really well and build a reputation on that and the customer service part of it. And then to diversify, the way I think about that is trying to work in that kind of third goal of ours, which is being connected to the community through collaborations. I mean, even becoming a member of Idaho Preferred, just, meeting these folks I've met here today. So maybe being a resource, because a lot of folks do ask us, oh, well, where can I get pork? Or do you know anyone doing this with chicken? Or where can I get vegetables, fruits? So just even last year, as small as we are, there's so many new people to our Treasure Valley. A lot of them come from a state that produces tons of food already. So they're already used to like getting food direct from farmers and ranchers. So that's one of the things we really noticed. They want to know, where else can I go? So if I am well versed in greens, in fact, I did send one of our customers to Fiddler's Greens this year, and she purchased a share. Her name is Lori Grubb. But I mean, there's other ones, and like where to get eggs. So that's really the way I guess I feel diversifying is know other good producers and growers, and you can connect your customers with them, but just keep focused on your one product. At least that's going to be our strategy.
I know I love that. It's kind of an homage to our mission too. On our website, we have our member resources, and really what's on there is an opportunity to be able to find those local connections and those resources. So, from our local producers, our ranchers, our food crafters, you should be able to go onto our website and search what you're looking for. Whether you're a consumer, maybe you're a chef, and you're trying to find local ingredients, you can go on there and kind of just plug it in and figure out who might be in your area. We're going to continue to expand that into the year, but it's definitely a easy go-to resource. If you can't, recall it, yourself, or maybe you don't know somebody, you guys should just hop on there and, seek out potential partnerships, or if you guys have questions, you can always ask too. We're here for you guys. All right, so kind of the last leg of our roundtable. Again, thank you guys all for participating. I kind of want to get into some learning objectives, and I know you guys have circled kind of back into some of those in our conversations already, so you don't feel like you have to repeat anything, but I'm just going to go through a couple of these questions. So what are some of your biggest hurdles, unexpected challenges? So, I'm sure COVID has affected all of you guys in one way or another. Barriers, were there any barriers to entry, legalities, permitting problems, just that you might want to bring to light, considering the type of audience that might be listening in on this? Maybe they're just getting started on a CSA. And then red flags, things that you've learned to avoid since you've started, or any additional advice that you guys might give out. Julie.
Hurdles for us have been two things, probably: infrastructure costs and getting everything in place, and not knowing what we need to make it work, and trial and error, and each year being able to grow based on lessons learned from the current year, and developing a confidence of what we can provide has been a huge hurdle for us, because each year you learn what you can commit to and grow it from there, and being able to have that confidence to tell your customers, farming is, you're gambling here. You're putting your faith in us that we're going to be able to grow a product for the year, and we get really nervous and anxious being able to commit to those customers, but having the confidence to come to them and say, you know what, yeah, we lost our potatoes this year. All the deer got to them. And so, but we have all these other great things. Becoming a salesman and learning how to just stand on your feet and share with them what else you're doing for them. Barriers, we don't have a lot of barriers, possibly with the exception of growing and processing foods, and needing that commercial kitchen to do that. That's a huge cost. Insurance is a barrier. You guys talk about doing events on your farm. We've attended a few cultivating success workshops, which focused on farm law and insurance, and we're really afraid of doing events that we charge for, because we know some local farmers who have done this and gotten away from it because they've had people come up and get injured on their property and have gone after them. So that's something that we're a little afraid of doing. We'll invite people up and do volunteer talks and tours, but we're a little afraid of charging for anything here yet. Red flags, just be clear with your customers up front. Let them know what the rules are of the subscription, and don't be afraid to tell them up front, because you'll have more problems later if you don't. Let them know that there's no refunds on the deposit, no refunds on the subscription, or if skip shares and all of that, so there's no surprises later. And don't be afraid to, we had one customer this year that we said, we might not be the good fit for you. They were afraid of farmers that had been vaccinated, handling their food. And so he said, we're vaccinated. So, and so we think, we would love to, we grow good food, but maybe if that's important to you, you need to find somebody else. And you can say that in a nice way. And And yeah, I've always said that before about nightshades, you know, allergies and hurdles with people that have too many exceptions. If you can't handle that, then don't take them on in your share. And as far as other advice, be conservative in the beginning. Don't go too big too fast. Like you said about providing a quality product, don't spread yourself too thin. Have trust in what you provide and have fun.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie. That was a great follow-up on that. All right, Fiddler's Green.
Our story as far as these questions are going to be kind of boring because we're very fortunate with our setting here, and the three of us as a partnership. We have a lot of barriers farmers have is land, access to land, and we have a landlord who's very laid back and hands off and doesn't ask much from us. And we're so close to town. I guess starting the CSA, that's actually Justin and Alex started the CSA the first year, having no clue, you know, how many members or like how much to grow for those members. So like kind of echoing what Julie said, starting really small and then kind of figuring out what you can consistently do. And after a couple seasons under our belts, you could look back and, you know, in QuickBooks or whatever and see, okay, we started selling, you know, salad this week, turnips this week, and they went until this time. And then, you know, then other things came on. So you could kind of, over the years now, we can kind of make a good guess at when we're going to have crops and just keep the CSA consistent. Our customers kind of catch on to that too at the market and the CSA. You know, a couple of weeks before cherry tomatoes are ready, they'll be like, "Where are the cherry tomatoes at?" And that's kind of neat. Barriers, I would say, really the weather is a big one. You know, we've had years where we have a big hailstorm and we'd have to tell our CSA customers or market there's going to be holes in the greens for a couple weeks, or you know, early frost, late frost. We kind of started at the market, maybe it's second or third year, so there wasn't a ton of vendors there yet. It's different than being a new farmer at the market now. So our entry into the scene was pretty easy, as there's not a ton of organic farms in the Treasure Valley, which, as Andrew's saying, is our customer base grows every year. The market is busier every year. The grocery stores are busy every year, and yeah, there's just not a lot negative I can say. I don't know. Do you have any advice, Justin, for new CSA providers?
Well, I think like you kind of covered it, or like we're kind of saying sort of similar things as Julie, but yeah, don't like stretch yourself thin, and starting small is good. And I really think that like being at the farmers market and having the CSA and having just like that presence and sort of like putting a face to the farm, and then customers being able to see the quality of your produce, and then they're like, and then each year that people are like, oh, that worked really well, so I want to be part of that, and like kind of building this sort of like strong community bond with your customer base is really cool, which is hard. If you were just a CSA farm, it'd be maybe hard to do. So it's nice to have the market aspect too, which is kind of, because then you can actually like talk about your crops and how to cook them and explain how to cook celeriac 50 times to your customers at a market. So yeah, I'm trying to think of other.
Also, like you were saying earlier, not on screen, but managing our employees too. It's been a huge learning curve for us. As we've grown, we've taken on more crops and bigger plantings, and we've needed more hands for that, for weeding and picking and planting and all that. So that's been a somewhat of a barrier, is learning the ins and outs of managing employees. We're really good at it, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Communication is key. Be good at communicating, like especially like you said with CSA members that maybe that I mean, we have a bigger CSA, and of course that comes with high maintenance CSA customers or people that have different needs than some other easier going CSA members. So just being able to be clear and not be afraid to say no to someone, or it might be hard at first. I'm the worst at conflict or that kind of thing, but just don't be scared of doing that, because in the long run it gets easier, and then it's actually a lot better than just it's okay to say no to people. So no. Yeah,
Well,
that's a hard one. Yeah.
You say yes, and you can go over here and buy it.
Yeah, totally. These
Yeah.
people are unvaccinated. Go to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, have fun. I mean, that's like the whole point of why I got into farming, is because it's fun to be outside. It's fun to work in it at least our crew is a bunch of goofballs, so it's like nice to have in the heat of the summer, keep it light. And I mean, selling vegetables isn't an easy thing, or growing them for that matter. And at the end of the day, you have to have fun. So, and if you're not, then maybe you should do something else. So.
all right, guys. Andrea, I am sorry. I'm gonna have to cut us off right
It's okay,
here.
no problem.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Not that we don't want to hear
Completely fine.
yours, but okay. We
Completely
just
fine.
have a rule making session in this room right after us, so it's important, and we got to let them get to it. So I appreciate all your guys' effort and all of your time. I'm gonna send you guys follow-up emails here shortly, but truly, honestly, thank you guys for just taking the time out of your days to be a part of the conversation and help us spread awareness, to others who were not able to make our meeting today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Nice meeting
Have a good
everyone.
day.
Bye.
Season.
You guys
Thanks.
too.
See ya.